welcome to the deep dive. So you sent us The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan.
Yep, that's the one.
And our mission today really is to kind of cut through the noise, pull out the core ideas, what actually matters for you, the listener.
Right.
This book, its big idea, it's all about finding that single thing, the thing that makes everything else easier, or maybe even unnecessary. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. So the heart of it is this focusing question.
Okay?
It goes, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary?
That's quite specific.
It is. And the authors, they really argue that asking this and actually acting on it consistently, well, that's the secret sauce for getting, big results.
Okay, I see. So for someone trying to, say, learn a lot quickly, focusing on just one thing,
Yeah.
it might feel a bit weird at first, right? Counterintuitive.
It might, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's explore how it could actually work.
All right, so this one thing, it's definitely not about multitasking then. The book seems pretty dead set against that.
Oh, completely. It suggests that by concentrating your energy, really pouring it into this one key thing, this keystone, other stuff just sort of simplifies.
Like, okay, example time. If your goal is understanding some complex subject, the one thing might just be getting the absolute basics down first.
Yeah.
The fundamentals.
Exactly. Nail the foundational principles, and then everything else builds more easily on top of that solid base.
Makes sense.
And the book points to some, pretty appealing benefits. Think about learning a new field again.
Okay.
If your one thing becomes mastering the core jargon, the key terms, that focus, it could really boost your learning productivity. You're not like scattered everywhere trying to grasp everything all at once.
Yeah, I can see that. And for someone maybe feeling swamped by information, the idea of less stress because you have one clear target, that sounds pretty good.
Definitely appealing.
Instead of feeling totally overwhelmed by just the sheer volume, you're like channeling your effort. And then there's this promise of bigger results from that focus. It's kind of like the 80-20 rule, maybe.
Yeah.
But sharper.
Yeah, perhaps even more focused than 80-20. Find that one lever that gives you the biggest push forward.
It's a strong idea, powerful concept.
It is. But, and this is important for our learner, we need to look at the limits too. Potential drawbacks.
Right, because life and learning, they aren't always neat little single tasks, are they?
Not at all. Sometimes you need the wider view, the context. What if your one thing for prepping a specific meeting clashes with your one thing for understanding the tech behind the meeting topic?
Ooh, good point. How do you choose?
Well, the book talks about prioritization, obviously, but it doesn't always give easy answers for those kinds of direct conflicts.
That's definitely something to think about. Could this super intense focus maybe make you neglect other things? Things that aren't the one thing right now, but are still pretty important for, a full picture.
That's the risk, yeah.
Like if you're trying to learn across a few related areas, going hyper-focused on just one might actually slow down getting that well-rounded view.
Precisely. You could end up with a kind of, let's call it knowledge tunnel vision.
Ah, yeah, tunnel vision.
And while deep dives are great, sometimes seeing the connections, how different bits of info link up, that's crucial, especially if you want that broad understanding.
Okay, so how do you actually use this then, practically, without falling into that trap?
Good question. So maybe if you're tackling a new subject, your one thing for this specific study session could be just understanding the main argument, the central thesis, before you get lost in all the supporting details.
Right. Find the leverage point for that moment. Like if you're researching a new market, maybe the one thing is really getting the core customer need. Understand that first before drowning in demographic stats.
Exactly. Find the key insight that unlocks the rest. It's about smart sequencing, maybe.
Yeah, sequencing and leverage.
So let's try to wrap this up. The one thing, it gives you this really compelling way to boost focus, get results by finding and hitting that most vital task.
Definitely powerful.
But like we said, you got to be flexible. Apply it smartly, especially when your goal is broader knowledge across different domains. Keep an eye on the bigger picture, how things connect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tool, right? A powerful one for cutting through the clutter. But you need to keep checking, is this still the right one thing for this context? Constant evaluation.
Constant recalibration.
So here's something for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. In whatever you're trying to learn or achieve right now, what's that one core concept, maybe one fundamental question that if you really got it, truly understood it, would just make everything else in that area click, fall into place more easily?
That's the question to ask.
Find that and maybe give that your focus for a bit.